Hey, hi everyone. It's Naomi Wolf, and as promised, it's my Substack Live show, Fridays at noon, East Coast. And today we're going to do something a little different. I just posted that I had the most amazing time last night at the Donald J. Trump Kings County, Brooklyn Republican Club. Speaking about the corruption facing our city, the looming specter of a Mamdani mayoral victory, which we have to avert, and also sharing the spotlight with these incredible young candidates, these grassroots candidates who are, graphic designers and special ed teachers and realtors and, quote unquote, ordinary people who, of course, are so extraordinary, and a new generation running as Republicans, lifelong Democrats who, like me, walked away, now running as Republicans. But it was an amazing event and it was a big deal. And it went so well. I got home and I've done something I haven't done for months because I've been detoxing, right? As you know, partly to deal with a neurological condition which has been causing me to limp, and I don't want to do all of the big pharma, big medicine things that they want me to do. So I'm determined to be in the best of health, in spite of or with that situation, and thank God I have been. I'm much, much better. Point is, I did something I haven't done for months. I had a tiny cocktail, like tiny vodka in a little bit of mixer, and like maybe 3 bites of a carrot cake. And I haven't had alcohol and sugar, as I mentioned, for months. So I slept badly, had anxiety dreams, woke up, feeling listless and actually kind of with a depressed mood and depressed motivation. And it's so interesting to me because food and obviously drugs and alcohol are like first, when it comes to how your body feels and how it can function, obviously, right? But it's so hard to bear that in mind. And it just made me so aware of how instantaneously our bodies react to what we put in them. So on a happier note, my video today is an unboxing video. You're in my kitchen in Brooklyn, our kitchen. The wonderful Brian O'Shea is with his wonderful son in Massachusetts, and I really celebrate their father-son time. So with my blessing, they're off doing their father-son things, and I'm holding down the fort in Brooklyn. I want to do an unboxing video about my second unboxing video about this farm-to-table grocery service, which is not a sponsor, it's not an affiliate, it's just an organization I was introduced to at a gathering to save the family farm up near our house in the Hudson Valley. And the founder of this service, a guy named Max Kane, it's called FarmMatch. And I'm so enthusiastic about it, and I want you to know about it. And that's why I'm doing the second, probably, I hope, even more useful and detailed unboxing video, because I am so worried about farmers and I'm so worried about the food supply. Like, I don't need to tell you, if you follow me, a huge subject for us is the horribly corrupted food supply, which definitely affects people with health conditions. I mean, we all have a health condition, it's called being human, right? But if you're trying to avoid surgery, avoid a lifetime of pain meds, avoid getting into the hands forever of big pharma, big medicine, the purity and integrity of your food is so important. And I also worry about the environment. I know I'm a newly minted, Republican adjacent, whatever. I still call myself an independent, but it doesn't mean you can't care about the environment. A big reason a lot of people don't vote Republican, even though they agree with the whole, policy list all the way down, is they think that Republican elected officials have no concern for the environment. So some of the extremes out there are insane. Like, you be carbon neutral forever and, detach your grid. and only run on solar with all the downside of that, or you pretend environmental problems don't exist. Well, there's a very healthy medium, I think, and that is to support family farms and family farmers, because crops are good for our environment. Not shipping produce from Chile to the northeast of the United States, so someone can have a berry in winter is good for the environment. Keeping the shipping distances shorter is good for the environment. And regenerative agriculture, obviously, I'm sure you've been hearing about it. It's a kind of new old form of agriculture that nurtures the soil. That is good for the environment. And also we are part of the environment. So eating, this food that has been overseen by humans who are not in thrall because of services like this to, the buyer from the big distribution points, which are consolidating, right? Is so much better for a lot of reasons. But one of the last things I'll mention, and I'm kind of, recapping things I know you already know. I just want to say, like, this is why, I'm doing something that isn't my normal thing, and showing you basically in this video how many groceries, beautiful groceries, you can get for a set amount of money, which turns out not to be more than you would spend at your local grocery store. Joel Salatin, someone said, absolutely. The last thing is that, like, I eat meat. I'm not a vegetarian, but I really worry about cruelty to animals and, factory farming. I know that, pigs are treated horribly, cows are treated horribly, chickens are abominably raised, even like free range. I've seen a free range battery chicken farm. It's like everyone's crowded together in a field under a tent instead of crowded together in boxes, right? It's not natural. None of it is natural. So what FarmMatch does, it's a very simple but beautiful idea, and I really want it, I want it to go national. I mean, it is national, but I want it to be very, very successful and replace your daily shopping. And Denise Hale Smith says, me too, I want to do something to help. What can we do? That's why I'm doing this video, Denise. I want to show you what I got for my money and how to order, because what you can do is shop there. Like that, that's so win-win. You and your family get the wonderful food. I'm going to show you that it's not even more expensive than shopping at the supermarket, and everyone's happy, right? And if enough of us do that, we literally create an infrastructure that bypasses big ag. Okay, so now I'm going to show you. When you go to farmmatch.com, you enter your zip code, and then it matches you, hence FarmMatch, with a farm near enough to you to deliver to you, right? And not everyone is going to be, in a radius of farms at this point that can get to you. I hope that your zip code is served by FarmMatch. And I know that there are other sites like this. This is just the one I'm most familiar with. And of course, I met the founder, I met some of the farmers, and this is my fourth or fifth order from them. And I've been so ecstatically happy. And it's not just that I'm happy, it's that my family's happy, because I have, people I love who are related to me. I'm not going to name them in this town. And I'm like, guys, I got more than I can eat. Brian's in Massachusetts. Come get some of this fresh produce. And it's like Christmas, and fresh dairy. So let me show you what I got. Again, I was worried about cost, but I'm just going to, unbox, and show you what I got. Okay, so you go on and you find the farm that is proposed to you. A couple were proposed. One was Dutch Meadows, which I've ordered from, and they're great. But the one that's really close to my heart is Pleasant Pastures. And Pleasant Pastures is, like everything we got from Dutch Meadows was wonderful. For a lot of reasons, some of them just having to do with fantastic customer service, super accessible, a human being who will literally say, Naomi, I understand you can't figure out how to leave the cooler outside, from the website, here's how to leave the cooler outside, like human to human. It's beautiful. So I chose among the things I chose, and you go through and you just select, and you can take a look online while I'm showing you this and see for yourself. They have produce, they have dairy, they have eggs, they have meat, they have fish, and they even have like jams and jellies and beef snacks, which are unbelievably good without all the nitrates and nitrates. So you can choose like a box of produce, and you literally don't know what you're going to get. And this is a little bit of a kind of a little risky or adventuresome, depending on how you feel, because you can specify some things, but other things are just whatever's in season or whatever they have a lot of. But think about that, like being able to give farmers that option is so good for everyone. Yes, you have to be creative about how to use a lot of a certain kind of vegetable, which I'm going to show you, but they're not left with rotting food, because someone who's a buyer miscalculated or, ordered too much or ordered too little. I got this beautiful zucchini. Look, it's the height of zucchini season. And it says, and they've got little labels, empowering you to achieve vibrant health by providing nutritious, organically grown zucchini. Do you get that little love note from your supermarket? Okay, look at these. And oh my God, they individualize for each vegetable. These people love their vegetables. I have a little love note with same love note. It's empowering me to achieve vibrant health, but they substitute with red beets. And I have a pound of red beets. Now, I've just learned how to roast red beets. I hadn't known how to before. It's very easy. So beets can be kind of intimidating if you don't know how to cook. And of course, canned beets are disgusting. Growing up in my generation, canned beets were inflicted on you in salads. Canned sliced beets, they're revolting. But these are so sweet and so good. And toward the end of summer, I can roast them and use them like on top of a salad with goat cheese and toasted walnuts, for instance, and a little vinaigrette, maybe some butter lettuce. Okay, so I got 3 beautiful, and I do want to say, like, maybe this will bother you. It totally does not bother me. You know how in the supermarket, all the beets, there's a little piece of dirt, all the beets are exactly the same size. Well, these beets are 3 very different sizes. There's a baby beet. There's a big mom or dad beet, and there's an older brother beet. And, I mention this because think about the waste and like modification that goes into, we're only going to buy beets that are a certain size, like this size to this size. That's what happens at the supermarket. So all the baby beets get, not included, or, hopefully turned into beet juice or coloring or God knows what, right? But it's perfectly good food, and the extra big beets don't get bought. But if you cut up beets and roast them or juice them, right, it doesn't matter. You can cut them to cook all at the same time. And so it just, like, I'm kind of ranting a little, forgive me, but it just makes you think like what a crazy food environment we live in, that perfectly good beets that would have been brought to market in any other society are not even brought to market if they're, below or above that median range. All right, so I said it was kind of a bit of a crapshoot sometimes. This has happened once for me with, I got a crate of yams, and I did choose them. And when they arrived, I was like, wow, that's a lot of yams. But we've been going through them, and they're delicious, so fresh, so sweet, and so nutritious. And honestly, yams are the kind of thing that if you don't have a crate of them, you're not going to think of going out to buy them. But they're so unbelievably nutritious. And again, you can roast them, put them in salads, make soup out of them. So I was very happy to have a crate of yams. They keep really well. This time, my kind of surprise box was a gigantic crate of the most beautiful peppers you've ever seen. And I confess, I think this is genetic. I was born not really liking green peppers. I kind of like red peppers, but I like them in specific ways. I like them sauteed, for instance, or roasted. Again, I don't really like them raw. And I like them in soups, cooked with other things. And I like them, turned into crunchy, refreshing appetizers with like cream cheese and chives, right? So I now have a gigantic amount of like so beautiful, like you've got to see how beautiful these are. They just glow with health. I don't know if you can really see that, but oh my God, how beautiful, right? They're just radiating loveliness. But this is definitely the kind of thing that I'm going to need to call out to my loved ones. And again, some of them are very different shapes, right? This one's little and kind of flat. It probably wouldn't make it into a supermarket, but it's going to taste delicious, and it'll certainly taste delicious in soup. And I feel really good. Honestly, I feel good about being kind of compelled to expand my horizons, definitely gift some of these to my friends and loved ones who are going to be thrilled to get them, but find new ways for me to eat these with my family in ways that will be delicious. Okay, and again, red peppers, so high in vitamin C, so high in fiber. Candy onions, a giant box of candy, a giant bag. And you know what else I love? The packaging. Because these are all brought to you by a human being in a cooler, there's usually when you unbox look at my kitchen. Usually when you unbox, weeks worth of groceries and put the food away, you've got a giant pile of plastic, right? Or you've got a ton of plastic in your refrigerator. There's like no plastic, almost no plastic. A little bit of plastic you'll see around the vegetables. That's going to be left over from this unboxing, but everything they can put in paper, and so many things like onions are, very durable. In other societies, you have a root cellar and you keep your onions all winter. This is in a paper bag. So how many do I have? I have one, and I'll just tell you in advance, I spent $480 on everything you're going to see. And at first I was like in sticker shock, and that included delivery. But why I wanted to show you this video is when I actually unboxed everything and thought about the meals that I would be getting from these and that my family would be getting, it's cheaper than, it's going to feed us for 2 weeks easily. And you'll see that. And so that's like so much cheaper than eating out, so much cheaper than delivery, and as literally no more expensive. I'm not going to say it's cheaper, but it's no more expensive than shopping at a supermarket, pardon me. So there were 5 beautiful onions, fresh. I don't even know what candy onions are, but I'm excited to explore them. And one thing I'm thinking about is, with all the green red peppers I've got, is gazpacho, which takes onions. So these are pretty. These are cucumbers, and they do come in plastic, but we'll do our best to recycle that. Lovely cucumbers, fresh. I mean, I know it's kind of ridiculous for me to stand here and say these are so fresh, but they just look at this, there's no wax coating on it. I'm scratching it with my fingers, and usually cucumbers at the supermarket are waxed to like 1 inch of their lives so that they'll last. There's literally, and then you're eating that wax and God knows what's in it, unless you peel the cucumber. This, you could literally take a giant chomp out of it. I mean, I'm going to wash it before I do that, but, and just eat it straight. Or you can cut it up in a lovely Israeli salad with the red peppers and the onions and some tomatoes, which I have, and some feta and some black. Oh my God, I got another, I didn't even order this. I think this just came as an extra. I got another bag of candy onions with also 5 onions in there. I'm certain I didn't order 2 bags of onions. I think they're just being nice. Now, I mentioned that they've got everything. They've got every department. Among the things they have is grits. I mean, they've got like a flour and grain section, as well as a baked goods section. So that's really cool, because I actually am allergic to wheat and baked goods made in the United States. Because why? You know why? Because of the glyphosate. Everyone's getting sick. I don't want to say everyone. A lot of people are having wheat allergies because of the glyphosate. Well, and you just get, an upset stomach. You don't feel good I don't feel good whenever I eat U.S. wheat. And the same thing with corn. corn is sprayed so heavily and it's so genetically modified in the US that I get, very bad side effects, not the same as eating wheat. And Prayer X10, hi Prayer X10, you're like my best friend now on social media. You don't miss a thing. It's wonderful. Prayer X10 says beautiful red bell peppers, right? And Denise Hale Smith says yum. Well, take a look at this. This is from a farm called Byler's Heritage Acres. So obviously one farm can't grow everything. So they've partnered with another family farm, and those are grits. Those are corn grits, organic corn grits. And I actually love polenta and I love cornmeal. And my dad, who's Romanian, who is not with us anymore, used to make a really delicious polenta. Oh, so good. That he would stir and stir and stir cornmeal. And then he would top it with cheddar cheese and mix cheese through it. And when things were really special, he would do a baked version with a layer of like ground meat sauteed with salt and pepper and onions, and then the polenta on top of it and the cheese on top of that. And Emen Javier says the Pacific island of Guam is in the house. That's awesome. Welcome, the Pacific island of Guam. I love that we can have these conversations worldwide. And Prayer X10 says, I can do this, yum baked polenta. Exactly. So I'm going to set that aside. But how pretty is that? And again, paper. This is the kind of packaging I remember from the early 60s. It's going to go right into, it's thoroughly biodegradable, except for one little window that lets you see the polenta. All right, you guys. What have I got? Oh my goodness. It's a spaghetti squash. And again, no wax on it. And it's from Lancaster Farm Fresh Co-op. I'm guessing that's an Amish farm. And Brian is a genius at spaghetti squash. When we're avoiding carbs, which we often do, we substitute his spaghetti squash and he makes yummy pastas out of it. So there's nothing particularly unusual about spaghetti squash, except that it's, again, super fresh, feels very dense. Like the interesting thing about these vegetables is that this feels super, like, I don't know how to put it, heavy and dense. I don't know why an organic, fresh, maybe, I know why, because it probably loses moisture when it just sits there week after week after week with its wax coating on it in the supermarket. We have microgreens. I don't even know what I will do with them. I'm sorry. I find it so annoying when people on videos do that. And I've even asked my stepson, like, why do millennials shake the thing on the picture? He had a good answer, which is to get your attention, but I won't do that. Sorry, I take it back, but these are microgreens. I know they're super nutritious. I'm going to throw them on salad. I can't say that I like them yet, but I like the heft of their nutrient levels. Now, I mentioned corn, and I mentioned how heavily interfered with corn is. So this is my package of fresh corn. I'm definitely going to have a party to have all this eaten quickly. Because there's nothing better than, corn so fresh, like it was just picked. And that's what this is. This was literally just picked. Well, there are some things that are different about this corn than the corn that, oh my God, you guys. It smells so green and fresh and grassy and just like natural, which is a nonsensical thing to say. Okay, in the supermarket, this part would be cut off. Can you visualize that? Usually they just hack that part off because it's, I'm sorry, unsightly or difficult to deal with. But this is the tassel. This is the corn silk, it's called. And, women would sit outside on the screen porch. Maybe I can invite my girlfriends over and we can husk this heap and mess of corn that we got here. And oh my goodness, you guys. And they would husk the corn and strip the these beautiful silks. Sorry, I'm getting really, I hope it's not weird that I'm so excited about real food and, things coming in their natural state from the earth. I just feel like that's how we evolved to eat. And you can see that this this tassel, it's what the corn comes with. By the time you get it, often you'll just buy this part from the supermarket, right? See, I've just husked it. Ear of corn, a skill set you didn't know that I had. Unfortunately, I'm dropping corn silk all over my floor, but that doesn't matter. Oh my God, it smells so good. It's like sugar. I literally couldn't resist. I just took a bite. I probably should have washed it. It is organic though. I still should have washed it, but it literally tastes so fresh, so sweet. And you could literally, you barely have to boil it, or you could just boil it a tiny bit and then slather it with butter. What kind of butter? I will show you. But anyway, look at how many ears did I get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think they're pampering me because you don't order 7 ears of corn, but I think they threw in an extra ear of corn. I don't think it's because they like me or know who I am. I think it's just that sometimes they're just very generous. But think about that. If you've got a family of 4, you could literally do a meal and half of it is that beautiful corn, and it takes like 15 minutes to steam it just a little bit or boil it just a little bit. Put out the fresh butter that I'll show you we got from Pleasant Pastures, and a little soup, hunk of bread, you're done. Or another green salad, you're done, and your family's so happy. And if you have kids can be picky. They are not going to be picky when you give them this unbelievable corn. They would be if you gave them supermarket corn, because it's really boring to get through. By the way, something else interesting about this corn, it didn't get stuck in my teeth. That may be too much information, but I kind of don't like even eating supermarket corn because, it's like so antisocial. But you can't have a conversation. You have to go floss. It gets stuck in your teeth. Maybe I'm sharing too much, but for some reason, maybe because not old, it just doesn't. It's just very tender. Beautiful green beans, and again, easy to steam. Not so different from supermarket green beans, except totally organic. Another zucchini, gorgeous. Oh no, I'm sorry. This is a cucumber. Another gorgeous cucumber with no wax on it. All right, we've been through 1 box of vegetables. I'm going to move the camera. And now I just want to show you this. I couldn't resist, right? I said I'm not eating sugar, and I'm not eating sugar, but I do have young people in my life who do eat sugar. And let's show you what I couldn't resist. Peaches and cream pie. Now this was expensive. This was $28, but I guess I rationalized because I thought, well, I'll have like a tea party and it's a special occasion. But if I was really economizing, I would have baked this myself. Might not have turned out as beautifully, but it's made with organic ingredients from Walnut Run Farm. And I just want to show you the label, because think about the label of a typical pie or any baked good item in your supermarket. It starts out great, right? Milk, flour, eggs, cream, sugar, spices, but then it goes on to unpronounceable, horrific. Here, I'll show you. So I got these kind of as a mistake before I was really reading labels, and I just haven't thrown them out yet because I thought, oh, how bad can they be? I was in a hurry. And I had my, beloved young relative coming to visit. So whole grain oat flour, wheat starch, sugar, modified cornstarch, that means GMO, oat fiber, salt, oat extract, then tripotassium phosphate, dicalcium phosphate, mixed tocopherols added to preserve freshness, and a bunch of alleged vitamins and minerals. And then at the very bottom, it says contains bioengineered ingredients. So literally, hey, John Macari, it was so great to meet you last night. John Macari reposted this stream. John Macari is a former NYPD police officer who spoke up in advocacy of his fellow police officers who were being mandated. He retired rather than take the shot, if I'm recalling his story correctly, as he shared it with me last night. And He has a podcast, and now he is a thorn in the side of like big policing, who for some reason don't want to support their own men in blue and women in blue who have been laid off 4 years ago, when they wouldn't take the experimental COVID injection that this administration is acknowledging is damaging and poorly tested. So they're still waiting to be reinstated and compensated, believe it or not. So I'm dedicating this podcast to them, even though it's not directly about their issues. I'll do another podcast, catch you up on their issues. But John Macari is a leader in that world, and it's an honor that he has joined this podcast. All right, so in contrast to that, which you don't want to put in your beloved, relatives, especially young people, because I discovered that there is sperm suppressant and hormone disruptors in commercial baked goods in America. Instead, it just lists einkorn flour, which is not as reactive for people who have trouble with wheat like I do, right? Peaches, pastured cream maple syrup, pork lard, water, baking powder, tapioca starch, real salt, organic vinegar. That's it. No hormone disruptors, no weird preservatives, no bioengineered ingredients. So yes, that was definitely an extravagance. But I'm going to tell myself, a $28 pie. My mom is doing like tea parties, and people love it. And it's affordable. It's an affordable way to entertain. So if I invite 5 people and, a box of tea, some cream from Pleasant Pastures, and this $28 treat, I can have a little festivity, and maybe some fruit for like under $40 or $50, as opposed to, meeting at a cafe somewhere where for 5 people, it's going to be like $120, $130 in Brooklyn. So this may sound random, but I've been reading about cod liver oil. I'm very interested in health treatments or organic treatments from the past that have been forgotten. Part of why I'm really interested, this if you follow my work, is that I figure, I'm not a medical doctor, I say it every time, but I figure if people have been giving cod liver oil to their children for generations, it's probably because there's something that keeps the children healthy in cod liver oil. And in fact, now the science is in, and we know how necessary the vitamin D and other substances in cod liver oil are. Natural source of vitamins A and D and omega fatty acids, the good omegas, right? So it also tastes disgusting. And so I was interested that this had good reviews and that it's fermented, which is probably even going to taste gross also. But that's like good, fermentation is very good for your gut. So that's fermented cod liver oil. We're going to try that. And that also was not cheap. I think that was over $20, but it gives you a little syringe. And it's, you think about like saving yourself from expensive medicine and expensive medical treatments. I've been, as you know, doing herbal remedies for almost 2 years now. And I literally have had half a dozen minor ailments and one major one. All the minor ones went away immediately with herbal treatments or old-fashioned traditional remedies. And the major one is incredibly managed. I'm not in pain. I'm not taking pain medication. I'm walking. I'm, regaining, all the mobility that the allopathic doctors told me I would have lost long ago. All right, let's move to the fridge area. Let's see how we do this. I'll put this on top of that. You won't believe what else I got. So here, this is a little note that came from Vegetable Box, and it's handwritten. Like, do you get this at all? I'm sorry, I shouldn't name names, but someone wrote this. This week's Vegetable Box contains mixed specialty lettuce, green beans, I should do those, cucumbers, candy onions, 2 pounds. So that's why I got all those onions. Sweet corn, they count it as one container of sweet corn. It's 7 ears of corn, and sunflower microgreens. So it's telling me what's in there. What else did I get? Hamburger buns. sourdough einkorn rolls, so I can make delicious burgers. And again, very simple ingredients from Walnut Run Farm. Oh my God, this was so good. This is insane, you guys. It's got no label on it because it just came straight from the apples. They just filled it. Oh, it says apple cider. That's all you've got. So maybe, I don't know if it's legal to have no label on it. It includes no expiration date, but I wish I could literally give you a container of this. I mean, a taste of this through the screen. It's so, can you see how like cloudy in a good way it is? It is like straight. It smells so sweet. It's icy. Oh my gosh. It tastes like the freshest apple you could ever imagine. And I mean, it's just like, it's not even possible to compare it to apple juice that you get at the store. All right, now this is going to blow your mind. So many dairy products from happy cows. Oh my gosh. I won't believe it. This is cottage cheese in glass. And of course, glass is better for you than plastic. Old-fashioned glass. I thought cottage cheese was pretty boring, but I wanted another protein source. All the cottage cheese I've ever eaten from grocery stores has been so boring. You know, I associate it with diets and deprivation and just unbelievable boredom. You guys, I had this last night. Look, it's like, and I put some fresh fruit on it, actually fruit salad, so frozen fruit that had thawed a little bit, and some coconut flakes. I am telling you, and a little bit of pecans, chopped pecans. It was like one of the most sublime things I've ever eaten. So creamy and fluffy and yummy, and like creams in there and curds are in there, and it's raw, right? It's not pasteurized. This is the illegal, it's called A2A2, which I believe is a designation of raw milk, unpasteurized milk, and we've talked about unpasteurized milk. But this is what people have gone to jail, literally, or been fined in order to get to consumers. There's a lot of argument that pasteurization, I'm not a scientist, don't take my word for it, do your own research, but there's a lot of argument that pasteurization kills off a lot of what makes milk particularly nutritious to humans who start life as mammals, drinking milk, drinking their mother's milk, then drinking cow's milk or goat's milk. We've evolved to do this for millennia, right? Like I'm reading the Geneva Bible. They were drinking sheep milk. They were drinking goat milk, maybe cow milk at that time too. It wasn't pasteurized. Louis Pasteur lived in the 19th century. So even that technology is pretty new, but it is so delicious and so different from what you eat get at the supermarket. This, my friends, is ghee. By the way, this is $11.49, which seems like a lot, but it's a pint. You can get like 4 servings out of this. And if you think about bad cottage cheese at the grocery store, it's like $4 for 16 ounces. So you're getting, I guess, more of a bad product at the grocery store that you're not going to enjoy. I think this is worth it. This is ghee. And what is ghee? It's clarified butter. And yep, A2 ghee. Again, it seems very expensive at $29 and a little bit. This has lasted me weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks because it's so concentrated. You just use a little bit for sauteing or cooking, and it creates this very clean flavor. And again, it's raw, it's pure nutrition. It tastes so good, it lasts so long. Here's mayonnaise. Now, mayonnaise is truly gross. Store-bought mayonnaise is truly gross. And this is, I haven't even tasted it yet, but this is like homemade mayonnaise from the farm, from happy animals. Actually, no animals here except for eggs. But let me compare Hellmann's. Oh God, this stuff's so gross. You know, I was forced to buy the Hellmann's because there wasn't an alternative at my local supermarket. It's in plastic, and you think, well, this is a simple product. It's got the oil, the eggs, the vinegar, the sugar, etc. It's also got calcium, disodium, EDTA, used to protect quality, and I think it's recently got bioengineered ingredients. But this never goes bad, and that's dodgy, and it doesn't really smell good. I'm gonna throw it away now that I've got the alternative, because it's not real food, and it's also, ugh, it's got preservatives, yeah, calcium, disodium, EDTA. It could probably sit there forever. This, in contrast, is a real food, and it's a very different color, and it can go bad. It tastes completely fresh, whereas this has that kind of bad citric smell, like chemical smell that you get with preservatives. And I can't wait to use it. And it was, about the same price, I'm going to say. This doesn't have a price tag on it, which I find kind of endearing, but I can look at my price list and let you know. Like, I have to say, to be honest, sometimes the packaging is a little quirky, and you have to work with it to. Oh, reasons I'm using the wrong lid. It's not quirky at all. It's just Naomi has no spatial skills. This also has onion powder, garlic powder, paprika, mustard powder, and stevia. So it's going to have sort of different flavors, and I'm really looking forward to what that's going to taste like. This, oh my God, you get this giant container of raw milk. Yes, I just dumped some all over the floor, but it's worth it to show you. I'm so excited about this raw milk. Look at this. From a happy cow. It's golden almost. It's buttery. Watch me pour it, because the cream is going to come first. Look at that. Look how creamy this is. Oh my gosh. It smells so good. Sweet. So sweet. But also, I don't know how to say this, and I could be totally imagining it, but you don't taste suffering. I feel like these products from the supermarket, that an animal, how they make milk? It's so sad. As a mom, when this was explained to me, I couldn't get over it. They take the calves away. The moms want to be near their calves. They're nursing their calves, and they basically steal the milk by taking the calves away. These cows and calves are kept together. And I actually got a long note in this week's delivery that explained how they raise their veal, which I've stopped eating veal for years now, because I couldn't take the images of baby calves, crippled in cages and not having their mom around and being slaughtered. It seemed like nothing was delicious enough to make up for that level of suffering that I knew calves were going through to generate veal. But this veal, I got a long handwritten letter in this delivery explaining that these calves are out with their moms, in their herd, playing, enjoying the sunshine. Yes, they don't get to live out their whole happy calf life, but they have a really happy life until, as regenerative farmers put it, that one, they have one bad day, as they say. They're slaughtered mercifully, but they're not tortured in their lives. They're out eating grass and drinking milk, and that is, to me, legitimate veal. So I may start eating veal again. I may order veal in the next delivery, but this, I don't even want to put this down. And I want to let you know, again, not a doctor, not a scientist, so many of our kids are suffering from asthma, allergies, autoimmune stuff, gut stuff, all of the vaccine injuries, right? Well, raw milk is reputed. People are very passionate about it. And I think this could be why the makers of raw milk keep being targeted, but it does so much anecdotally for asthma, respiratory issues, allergies, gut issues, and autoimmune issues. So I will keep you posted, but I've noted a marked improvement in my health when I drink raw milk as opposed to when I don't. And having all these options made with real dairy is incredible. Okay, I'm going to go faster because, believe it or not, we're running low on time. Oh my God, look at this. I'm telling you, so much food. Giant, beautiful kale. I won't spend more time on this than I need, but is this like the kale you get in the supermarket? You guys, seriously, this is twice as big as my head. This is gigantic, again, Lancaster Farm, green kale, USDA organic, massive. So I'm going to saute that. Now, look at what I've got over here. I'm going to open this. I forbore to even open it until now because it is such a huge thing. It's like why I say it's like Christmas. This is all the meat I got for this $490 is everything, okay? Beef rump roast, like almost 3 pounds. So you can put this in the slow cooker and make an amazing stew out of it. Brian is the expert on braising. I'll let him figure out that recipe. A pound of beautiful ground beef, again, from Happy Cows. No, and look at the difference, okay? So in the supermarket, your ground beef is allowed to have pink slime, which is literally God knows what part of what animal mushed together. And they're also allowed to mix, to ship in animals from Mexico and other places with low, guardrails around their production and call it USDA meat, right? That's how bad it is. And the Beef Institute has a lot to say about this. This, in contrast, this looks like ground meat. There's no pink slime at all. And obviously it's an American cow. It's a Pennsylvania cow. Same thing here. And it had a happy life, a good life. So it's 2 pounds. And so that's one whole giant meal for 4 people, along with the einkorn flour buns you saw. Steak, giant steak, beef sirloin steak. Interestingly, it doesn't say how big. I kind of like the quirky labeling. But yeah, it doesn't say how much, but it looks like, again, it's about 1.25 pounds, I would say. And it's cut in an interesting way. Like it's not as cookie cutter as steaks in the supermarket, but it's going to be very easy to cut that through the middle if you want to make it more uniform and have 2 beautiful steaks for 2 people. Here we have 4 pre-made beef patties. I wanted to do this for ease. Again, no green slime, and 4, 8, 16 a pound. So I have 3 pounds of ground beef. I have 4 pounds of ground beef. We eat a lot of beef. I've stopped eating pork, so I have to substitute. I have 5 pounds of ground beef. I'm telling you, it's Christmas. I may have overordered. I have 6 pounds of ground beef. I have 7 pounds of ground beef. Why did this happen? I must not have been paying attention. Okay, guys, I literally must have pressed the same button twice because I had 8 pounds of ground beef. But we have a big freezer. In the country, we have a big freezer, and here we have a large size freezer, and we're going to freeze it. And that way I can have this for literally I want to show you these, for weeks or months. We won't have to go to the supermarket. I can't open the bottom one, but I didn't do here. Okay, this is uncured mild beef stick, wonderful snacks for a long drive or just when you're out and about. No nitrates or nitrites. Nothing, no preservatives, and packed in collagen casing instead of that weird kind of non-food casing. Have we gone through everything? Oh no, we have not gone through everything, you guys. There's so much to enjoy still left. Uncultured buttermilk. I'm going fast now because we're low on time. This, I can't wait. This is plain yogurt, and you can get it in blackberry flavored. So good. I gave it away to a loved one because I know he's going to love it so much. And this is just plain, so fresh, so yummy, raw cream. Sorry, I'm getting too excited. Cream. I have cream in my coffee. The half and half Even this, like from the bodega, I looked for organic, couldn't find it. You think you're just getting cream, but no. And this is the best I could do. Milk, cream, disodium phosphate, sodium citrate. What? They put that garbage in everything. This is just cream. It's just cream, and it's beautiful, and it's in glass, and you can reuse all this glass. Okay, guys, almost done, but not quite. It's so exciting. Let's see what we have that I have not mentioned. And we are at the end of our journey. Okay, this is actually from Dutch Meadows, but I wanted to show it to you anyway in case you didn't believe that you could actually order eggs from these people through the mail or through a delivery and it arrives. This is like a dozen and a half eggs, and they come packed so well. And again, mostly paper, right? And they're so fresh and so delicious. And again, these hens have not suffered. So I'm giving these, away to my relatives because I overorder. But they're so happy to have them. And again, you're eating food that helps to nurture the ground and comes from happy animals. And then the last thing we really are done is mixed greens. And it just says lettuce, mixed specialty. Again, that was in that box of vegetables with the 1,000 red peppers. And that's it. It's enough for one small salad. But if I bulk it out with the cucumbers and the red peppers, and again, some olives and maybe some onions, it'll be a bigger salad. And that's it. I think that's it. I think we've gone through everything. I don't have anything left, but I am looking at like the stuff I got from the supermarket. I just want to show you two things I got from my last delivery that I love so much. So this is from the last delivery, also Dutch Meadows raw Dutch cheddar cheese. I've been using that, so savory and yummy. And you guys if you can possibly order this way instead of from the supermarket, even if you look and look and look for ketchup that is not gross, it's hard to find. Let me see if I can find it. And again, I look, but I live in kind of a food desert when I'm here. But even in the Hudson Valley, such abundant farm to table, so many farms, but the supermarkets are bad and under provisioned. And if you do go to farmers markets, it's like $12 for an apple. It's just prohibitive. It's more like a tourist event. Well, this is Thrive Market, kind of organic ketchup. And it actually doesn't have any preservatives in it, but it doesn't taste that good. And it's from tomato concentrate, and it has lots of sugar in it. Well, compared to that, don't mind me, there's this fermented ketchup that I ordered, I think in my last delivery from Dutch Meadows, or from, I don't remember, it could have been from Pleasant Pastures, but it's from the same source, FarmMatch. And it's, again, I'm trying to eat a lot of fermented stuff. It's tomato paste, maple syrup, fish sauce, whey, water, garlic, sea salt, and cayenne pepper. And you'd think that's gross, but it's so good. It's like addictive. And you can toast this einkorn bread and just, spread it with this and maybe like some anchovies or some sardines. And or maybe just some, sliced olives. It's so savory and umami and delicious. And again, so much fresher than the stuff that you're getting even from Thrive Market, which is another kind of competitive delivery service that isn't actually farm to table. So that's the haul. And I don't think, again, I started out with sticker shock. I just want to acknowledge that because I did order everything all at once, and because I just get carried away looking at how beautiful the stuff is on the website and how much I want to support them. But I think you will agree, and we'll eat through it, and I'll let you know in 2 weeks. I think you'll agree that we can live on this literally for 2 weeks. And since if you think about it, at least where we live, every time you go into a supermarket, it costs $130 to come out with a handful of items. I think that this is really, really competitive, at least competitive, and may even save us money. Because honestly, with bad produce and boring bad dairy and meat that has pink slime all over it, you really don't want to cook at home. But when you've got beautiful produce and it's just calling to you, saying, turn me into a hamburger on delicious einkorn, buns, I'm right here, you do want to cook. And so I think like 225 to feed 2 or 3 people for a week is on fresh, organic, amazing food, is competitive. It's cheaper than Whole Foods, right? For sure. And it includes delivery. And that's the last thing I want to tell you about. Really cool. This was delivered by a human being, a guy from Pennsylvania, shows up at your door. And again, cutting down, I'm just going to show you this pile of stuff, cutting down on packaging. It comes in a big cooler, like the kind of cooler you take camping, like a giant blue cooler, like almost the width of this tiny galley kitchen. And they leave it for you, which is also kind of amazing if you're not home, and you just return it with your next delivery. Or they unpack it. This guy unpacked it for me. And of course I gave him a tip, but he wasn't expecting it or asking for it. He just took all the stuff out for me and took the cooler away with him. He physically comes from Pennsylvania, and he's going to go all over Brooklyn, dropping off people's orders and drive back to Pennsylvania. So literally my corn could have been on the corn stalk yesterday, for all I know. It's so direct. And you just think like, this is possible. This isn't complicated. It's not. These people have figured it out. He's employed, the farmers are employed, the animals are happy, the land is being treated well. And he said that all of his customers in Brooklyn are so overjoyed to see him, just like I am. A human being showing up at your door to take out all this beautiful food and then take away the cooler, or else leave the cooler for you. If you're not home, you drop it off when he comes next time you order. That's it. That's what I have to tell you about. It's changed our lives. Again, I really want to be honorable and let you know if this lasts us for 2 weeks, especially the fresh stuff. We'll need to have a lot of little dinner parties to make sure we eat it before, while it's still fresh. But all this stuff, I'm going to try to get through 2 weeks, and I'll tell you, what we've cooked and what we've made. Oh, interesting. Denise Hale Smith. Carrageenan is in all dairy products in the grocery store. I found out from reading labels. It's so true. And it tastes disgusting. And Denise Hale Smith, I'm sorry, my mind is on fish. We're feeding 5 people. So would that be affordable to eat like that on a budget? I don't want to lie to you. I don't know. It depends on what you order, but I'm very interested. You can be our scout for that mission. Why don't you go on the website and see if you can, feed 5 people on the budget that you've got for your family. And if, I don't know what your budget is. And if not, I don't want to pretend, that this is possible, right? For us, we're paying about that every week for groceries, about $200 for groceries, no matter how careful we are. And we're not extravagant, and we cook a lot at home. So, but you tell me, because I don't want to overclaim. Katarina says glyphosate should be banned in North America. It has ruined my GI tract. So many people. So you're not alone. Oh my goodness. Here's Aloha from Omaha, Nebraska, the center of both good and not so good farms. My goodness. It's great to have you watching from Omaha, Nebraska. And Denise Hale Smith thinks I'm funny. I'm glad, as they used to say, funny haha or funny peculiar, but I don't even care at this point as long as you're entertained. And I got lots of beautiful emojis from Kara Waterhouse. All right, you guys, don't take my word for it. If I were ordering again, being more conservative with my budget, I definitely would cut the cod liver oil and the pie, which were extravagances, and that would cut $60 or $70 off of the total budget. So that would make the whole thing about $430. And again, like 10 pounds of meat. So that's 5 meals a week with meat, not counting all the dairy, all the eggs, the omelets we can have. I think we'll find out that we can more than feed 3 people on this, but I don't want to overpromise. The other thing that's expensive, honestly, that you don't have to order is ghee. The ghee is very, very expensive. It lasts forever, so it's probably cost effective, but it is $30. So if you don't, order the big ticket stuff, maybe if you order more dairy, more eggs, and less meat, even though I found the meat quite affordable, or they have lots of great cuts of meats that we don't usually cook or think about in America, like, liver, kidneys, tripe, of course, oxtail, because they're butchering the whole cow, right? But if you're willing to be adventurous and cook those cuts of meat that are so good for us, and that they love in other parts of the world, but we just tend to have forgotten about, then you can save a lot of money too. Cod liver is so nutrient dense, necessary for optimal health. Well, that is good to know. I look forward to starting it. Well, I don't look forward to, because it's supposed to be disgusting to taste, but I'm looking forward to the effects, and I'll keep you posted. You guys, this has been so much fun. Thanks for coming into my little Brooklyn kitchen to look at my haul. Let me know how it goes with you guys, and I'll keep you posted in my next video about this, about what Brian and I cooked from this. I'll try to keep some recipes together, but I am a bad cook, as you know, and not the best homemaker in the world. So if you put together something better, cheaper, tastier from FarmMatch, and you can educate us, please do it. But I don't know about you, but I'm persuaded that this system is the answer to health, to our health problems with our food supply, to our environmental problems, to the animal cruelty problems, to justice for farmers. So thank you for listening to me. And again, don't take my word for it. Go to farmmatch.com and let me know how it goes in the next episode about this, which I'll tell you about in advance. If you like reporting like this, please support us. It takes a team. You don't see them, but they're there waiting to cut it, edit it, host it, distribute it, get it on socials. That's a lot that goes into it. So go to dailyclout.io, subscribe or donate. You can now subscribe to BillCam independently and to legisector.com independently to keep up with live legislation, make it socially shareable. Find out what's going on in your community before you invest or buy a house or, move your money, what's going on in different sectors. And also over on Substack, you can subscribe to Outspoken, and you can also go over to Naomi Wolfried's The Geneva Bible. We're really busy, but we need your help. It's a team effort. And thank you, and keep me posted. All right, you guys.